couple of years ago, I listened to this amazing talk given by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, the author of young adult phenomenon The Inheritance Games, and also of The Naturals, which is one of my favorite YA book series of all time. And this talk absolutely blew my mind and redefined how I think about writing fiction and how I think about coming up with story ideas. So in this video, I'm going to share some of those things with you. I would recommend you go listen to this talk, but I found it through a webinar or something. It was like a recording that was sold by the Romance Writers of America, and I went back onto their website and I cannot find it for the life of me. They are no longer selling it. I don't know where you can access it, and so if that ever changes, I will be sure to drop a link in the comments with a new link to that talk, because that talk was amazing, and I would highly, highly, highly recommend it if I could still figure out where it is. The talk was called Writing for Your Id by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I am pretty sure she does other talks and webinars that are on YouTube, like The Psychology of Writing. She has many qualifications in psychology as well as in writing. So this talk was focused on what people like deriving from fiction books from a psychological perspective and how to write with that psychology in mind. But because I can't go and promote the talk, because I have no idea where it exists on the internet, I'm just gonna go promote her. Go search up anything that she's ever done or talked about when it comes to psychology and writing. She's incredible and her insights are awesome. And her books are amazing. I love The Naturals. I cannot recommend that series highly enough. It just warms my heart thinking about it. It's like Criminal Minds for a YA audience, and it follows this group of like 5 teenagers recruited by the FBI to go solve cold cases, and it's awesome. But the main thesis of what she says in this talk is that readers read books for pleasure. She says in the talk that they read books for the same reason that people eat cheesecake: to feel pleasure and to experience pleasure. So your job as the author is to deliver pleasure to your readers. Note, we are talking about fiction here and not nonfiction. Your most important job is to deliver pleasure. Your most important job is not to make any profound commentary on society, to argue for anything, have any messaging about anything important. You can have those things, but that is not going to determine whether somebody enjoys or does not enjoy your book. And because people read for pleasure most of the time nowadays, and a book's success is gauged off of its commercial success and how many people are actually buying it, the pleasure thing kind of outweighs the other things. If you could do all of it, great, but make sure you are also delivering pleasure. And this makes sense, right? Like when you think about books, a lot of books that do really well are books that have some sort of wish fulfillment element to them. Like in Harry Potter, you have a kid who is a nobody that gets plucked out of mediocrity and told that he's someone special, then whisked away into this magical world where he's actually really important, and the magical world is super cool, and his life becomes amazing. Sure, yes, he has to go still fight the evil wizards, and there's dangerous stuff going on in the wizarding world, but who as a kid didn't dream of being told that they were a wizard or finding out that they're a wizard and going off to Hogwarts? I know I did. I was just taking all the quizzes to try to figure out which house I would be in. I was always imagining what it would be like if I were able to enter this magical world. Or in Twilight, girl has a sexy vampire fall in love with her. I mean, who doesn't dream about that? That is like wish fulfillment for people. Like if you feel like your life is boring and then all of a sudden this really attractive guy finds you really, really attractive and just wants to risk everything to date you, of course that scratches some sort of pleasurable fantasy in the brain. Percy Jackson, the same thing. Don't you want to be a demigod and enter this cool world? In Jennifer Lynn Barnes' series, The Inheritance Games, the main character starts out living in her car and then inherits this mysterious guy's entire fortune of billions of dollars and gets whisked away to go live in a mansion with like 4 hot boys that are all obsessed with her. The books that do the best are the books that deliver pleasure to the brain. They often include some sort of wish fulfillment, not the Hunger Games, but we're going to touch more on that later. And these sort of situations make books extremely compelling to readers. So on top of that, there are certain things that appeal to the pleasure centers of people's brains from a psychological perspective that you can be sure to include in your writing if you are trying to make a book as pleasurable as possible. Barnes describes these as buttons that you can press, and these buttons are touch, wealth, power, danger, competition, and beauty. Touch is pretty straightforward. It is affectionate physical contact between people, often physical contact that reflects romance in some way. Wealth is usually depictions of big money, so really beautiful houses, really beautiful estates, really amazing architecture, fancy schools. Like in the inheritance games, when she inherits the billionaire's fortune that has wealth all over it because she's able to step into this world of the extremely, extremely wealthy, and that scratches some sort of pleasure center. Or a lot of settings in books do this. Like in the TV show The Summer I Turned Pretty, they have this beautiful beach house that is on the water and in this really pretty town, and that house is very wealthy. You're not going to find all these buttons in every story, but you'll find most of them in the most successful stories. Power usually, at least in my understanding, comes in the form of like something having a lot of power over you, like a giant tyrannical force, or like in the case of dystopian books, a giant government, people who take power out of your hands and like force you into some sort of something that isn't your idea. Like in the Squid Game, all of the people have a lot of power over the contestants, and the people who put on the game have a lot of power over the contestants. There's a bit of a power dynamic in Twilight when Edward is so much older than Bella is, and that, I guess, is somehow interesting and exciting. I can't crap on Twilight, I mean, it's successful. Or in Harry Potter, you have the really powerful wizards. Danger, I mean, I think you understand that one. The stories have some sort of element of danger, like if things go wrong, something really bad is going to happen. All really good stories have some sort of element of danger. Most of the really commercially successful stories have an element of danger to them. Competition is a really big one that I didn't put together until I listened to this talk, but human brains are hardwired to love competition. This is why stories like The Hunger Games do so well, or Squid Game do so well. This idea that there's a big competition and only one person gets out. It's why people love sports. We're just hardwired to love competition. And so a lot of stories with some sort of dangerous game in them do really well. And beauty is another one, like makeover scenes where all of the love interests are really beautiful, or, you know, sparkle in the sun, or everyone in a particular society is just really pretty. So when all of those things work together, you can create a story that is just jam-packed with things that people subconsciously gravitate toward. Like take The Hunger Games. It hits every single one of these buttons on the head. It hits the touch button because you have the love triangle, and you have all of the stuff with Peeta and Katniss in the first book, in the first games. It hits the wealth button because the capital is extremely wealthy, and when Katniss and Peeta go into the capital for the first time from District 12, the wealth just is astounding to them because it's so over the top compared to the districts. Power, the capital has so much power over the districts in the beginning of the books. Danger, there's a ton of danger in the game. Only one person's allowed to come out alive, and so there's a lot of danger. There's competition because it's a game, and it also hits the beauty button because all of the tributes get makeovers, and there's a tribute parade, and they have stylists and outfits, and they get to be made up in this way. Plus, everyone in the capital is supposed to be beautiful. I mean, in the movies, they all looked kind of scary, but supposedly they're supposed to be beautiful. Learning about this has really helped me because it has put into very concrete terms things that I can think about when I'm coming up with ideas for stories and putting together ideas for stories, seeing if I can hit as many of these buttons on the head as possible. Another practical strategy that she shared at the end of the talk was that one thing that you can do is create an id list and use that to help you brainstorm ideas for stories. Id is a term borrowed from Freud. It is used to describe the subconscious instinctual part of the brain, and that is the one that is primarily associated with pleasure. It has been a long time since I have taken psychology, so please forgive me if my analysis is not totally correct on that one. But it's used here to describe the part of your brain that is just focused on pleasure and that has some subconscious reason for liking certain things. You don't need to know why, but every time you read a book or see a TV show, there are just some things that trigger some pleasurable response inside of you that you may not be able to understand or pinpoint. But it is worth keeping track of what those things are. So if you ever encounter something in a book you're reading or a TV show you're watching that really speaks to you in some way, you can write that down in your id list and keep track of it. This might be a type of plot point or a certain character dynamic or a certain type of character. Keep track of all of those things, because when you have to go write books and come up with ideas for books, you can go back and refer to your id list to get ideas and inspiration for characters and locations and plots and things that have brought you pleasure, so chances are they will also bring someone else pleasure. And I know there are some other articles and pieces online that have been written either about her talk or by her about writing for the id, so I recommend going and looking at those too. But this talk has really helped shape my framework and the philosophy I use when approaching my fiction, so I hope that it was helpful or at least interesting to you. If you have a second, I'd be super grateful if you could like this video and also subscribe to my channel. My name is Claire Fraze, and I'm an award-winning author who makes videos sharing actionable and practical writing tips that helped me make my own writing better. I'm the author of the paranormal thriller They Stay series, which tells the story of a 16-year-old girl whose younger brother goes missing, and the only people who know what happened to him are the ghosts in her small town cemetery. So she has to team up with a couple of other outcasts and misfits at her school to go see if she can save him. So go check out my books and videos if they sound interesting to you. Thank you so much for watching this one. I hope you have a fantastic week, everybody. And as always, happy writing.